इससे समझाओ।
विन ग्रिप टेक्नोलॉजी कुछ इस तरह सीमेंट को ग्रिप करता है, बिल्कुल टाइट।
SRMB TMT, चैंपियंस की पसंद।
Hi guys, are you all excited for the Indian T20 League 2021? Well, I am, and I have come across the great fantasy sports app called My 11 Circle, where you can use your cricket knowledge and skills to win in crores. The really unique feature about it is that what you can actually literally play with champions like Dada, Rahane, VVS Laxman on this app. Also, don't please hold your breath, because not only My 11 Circle have all these legendary cricketers on their app, they recently got the kings of energy and awesomeness on board. Ranveer Singh. Yeah, you heard it, that right. Ranveer Singh is on My 11 Circle. Download the app now.
Hi everyone. Someone's got me playing. Hi everyone, it's Norman Koshnak here from Extra Time on a day of a double header where two teams, as in the likes of Mumbai Indians and Delhi Capitals, have shown their superiority by thumping their oppositions in the case of Rajasthan Royals and obviously Kolkata Knight Riders. The reality is, I think in the pre-show I made a very clear point that these two teams, Mumbai Indians and Delhi Capitals, had to show their authority. At this stage of the innings, they both were, at this particular stage of the tournament, these two teams have proven to be where they should be, at the top of the table, and the two teams in opposition proved to be where they are on the bottom of the table. It is a distinct moment of the series. I think we're going to start to see an emergence of two groupings, and we'll get our illustrious guests to make comments as well. Gautam Bhattacharya, how are you, Gautam?
I'm fine, Norman. How are you doing?
Very, very well. We have the very good-looking Debashis Sen there on his leopard skin seat. How are you, Debashis?
Fine, Norman. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Long time no see, only a matter of a couple of hours, I think. And also Ronak Jain from the Bharat Army. But the Bharat Army, of course, are a force to be reckoned with. They are throughout the world, London-born, world-based, incredible body appeal. Welcome, Ronak.
Thank you. It's nice to be back on Extra Time again. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Where do we start? I mean, I can mention one word, Shaw, namely Prithvi Shaw. The way he started the innings today was about as emphatic, as distinct an innings start that I've seen in a long time. Prithvi Shaw has taken his time getting on the stage here in the IPL this season, but I think he's just emerged here as a force to reckon with. He and Shikhar Dhawan were quite incredible, and not forgetting they've got the likes of Punt as well on their side. I think Delhi Capitals are showing their cards somewhat now, and this is a great start for them in terms of the next stage of the tournament where momentum is all. I also believe the likes of Mumbai Indians also put a stamp on their performance. Very exciting to see these two sides do so well today. Obviously, RCB and CSK being former winners of the tournament are a force to be reckoned with. But I do believe, not so much RCB, sorry, I should say Delhi Capitals is a team that hasn't. The other RCB has also not won. We're going to see a tournament that will develop, and I actually hope we have a team that will win this competition that has not done so before. That's my hope, namely RCB and Delhi Capitals. All right, over to you. Gautam, I would like to hear your perspective of, firstly, the second match.
I think, you see, it holds true for both the venues. The type of cricket that we are going to see, that has changed. Now, if, for KKR, as we know, if we compare them with the other teams, the teams that are doing well, they're either getting good starts from the openers, or in the middle order, you've got Abby de Villiers or Glenn Maxwell to undo any early damage that's happening. With KKR, unfortunately, we're finding nobody who's a leader of batting. Their openers, they had started well, then before fading out. So it's the sixth game. They have not been able to marshal their middle order. So 155 was simply not enough. Possibly what we didn't bargain for was this kind of a smooth sailing for Delhi. But then once again, hats off to Prithvi Shaw and Shikhar Dhawan. for the start that they gave Delhi. And from there, it went on to become a one-sided contest.
Yeah, look. I can't be more concerned for Kolkata. Namely, Owen Morgan yet again failing. Clearly, Sunil Narayan is not at all there. The reliance on Andre Russell is immense. And I feel sorry for Andre Russell. He is almost KKR at the moment. If he doesn't fire, the rest of the team doesn't fire. Shubman Gill's doing what he tries to do his best at, but he's just not cutting it. He's just not dominating as much as he should, and it's frustrating for me to see that. KKR have been underwhelming the entire series, and they proved it yet again today. They severely need a change in their team, and I don't quite know what that will be. Tobias, is your thoughts?
Obviously, Norman, when you give away 25 runs in your first over, when your opponent is chasing a meager total of 155 odd, then you are on most occasions you will end up losing, and that is what happened with KKR today, because they were totally decimated by the likes of Shikhar Dhawan and Prithvi Shaw at the start. And oh boy, what an innings it was by Prithvi Shaw! And it was strange that when you have someone like Pat Cummins in your ranks, and you start the bowling with Shivam Mavi, who is inexperienced. Obviously, he's a decent bowler. He has the talent and the potentiality. But then, when you are chasing such a small total, all you need to do is to have a good start, especially with picking up those quick wickets in the power play. And that was not the case. When you let loose when the opponent with such a free flowing batting, they almost scored somewhere in the region of 60 runs. So that was game over. So I think means KKR needs to sort this out the sooner the later, because they have lost already. They have lost 6 matches, if I'm not wrong. So they have all the catching to do. I think that it is still not over yet, but then it is looking very, very bleak for KKR.
I actually, if I'm being honest with you, Bastards, my feelings are KKR have got a way to go down. I actually think we're going to see them get worse. I think the mental disintegration after today's game yet again is not even setting in yet. I think there's going to be a need to change something in this side, and that may well mean Owen Morgan's captaincy. That's my feeling. I think we're going to see a knee-jerk reaction to happen pretty soon. I'm predicting that. Brendan McCullum is that type of a coach. I think that we'll see that happen if that's what is going to help kickstart KKR. Ronak, what's your thoughts?
So I'm actually very surprised seeing KKR in such a position. Before the start of the tournament, I had them as one of the favorites to reach the top 4, if not win the tournament at least. You look at the squad, I mean, it has big players there. They have Andre Russell, considered as the best T20 finisher in the world. You have someone like Shakib Al Hassan, Owen Morgan, the World Cup winning captain. You have Shubman Gill, Dinesh Karthik, again considered one of the best finishers in the world. Backup options like Shakib, Harbhajan, Karun Nair, and Lockie Ferguson. So it's not that their playing 11 is not strong. They have good backup as well. I'm very, very surprised to see them in such a situation. I'm also very surprised at their team management and decisions of picking a squad, because their main players, your Morgans and Russell, they come at 5, 6, 7, wherein half the game is already lost for them, and you can't expect a Russell to win you a match from a situation where 50, 60 runs are required from 3 overs. I'm very baffled by that. Another thing I'm baffled by is considering Lockie Ferguson, who was really, really good the last season, because they were not doing well in the previous season as well. And Lockie Ferguson came in and won them a couple of matches, one of them in the super over as well. Considering the fact that Sunil Narayan is not contributing with the bat as such, and if he's not opening the batting, he has no position or he has no role at number 5. They could have easily swapped Sunil Narayan, played Lockie Ferguson, Pat Cummins together, and easily that would have been a very, very strong force, just like how Delhi Capitals were doing last year with Nokia and Rabada. So they're missing quite a few tricks, despite having a very, very good squad. That is something which is more worrying. If a Rajasthan Royal is not doing well, it's understandable because they don't have resources, they don't have a good squad. But KKR has a squad of riches, and despite that, I don't think so they have utilized their resources well.
Now, when you look at Pat Cummins, obviously he took those 3 wickets towards the end. Commendable, certainly. His figures were slightly more flattering than perhaps they deserve to be in the overall scheme of things. But I shouldn't laugh, but I feel particularly sorry for Shivman Mavi. 1 over 25, we didn't see him again, did we? I wonder why. He must have been mentally destroyed after his first over. He couldn't have a worse start to an innings for a bowler, that is. What was the reasoning with Mavi opening the bowling? Can we get an understanding of that? Do we think that was the right choice to start with? Galton?
See, Mavi is a bowler who has done well in the past under pressure. If I recall, in the last game, he didn't do badly. But as Ronak says, that you have to make the best use of your resources. So trying what Lockie Ferguson, what he brings to the table is he brings enormous amount of variety with his Yorkers, with his slower ones. So that we didn't get to see with this experiment. Then, of course, who's going to start the bowling? Yes, I mean when you give away 25 runs, you're giving a head start, and it's pretty obvious that both Prithvi and Shikhar, they picked on Mavi that we are going to attack him. So that's something where things started to go wrong from first start.
In your opinions, letting Mavi bowl 1 over and never seeing him again, I kind of find that I would have liked to see him bowl another over. Why? Because he may have redeemed himself by taking wickets. Sometimes when a bowler has a shocking first over, they come back hard if they've got the capability and actually do well in the second over. So I'm a bit disappointed with that in a way. Overall, there's a lot of ifs and a lot of buts about this team. Owen Morgan's captaincy, is it under question? Devashis?
100%, because as we all know, last season Dinesh Karthik had to be uh, changed. In fact, he was the one who surrendered who just relinquished the post. But then, having said that, it would be strange to say, because I think when Morgan has been appointed the captain for the full season, so I doubt if, even irrespective of the result, Morgan would be shown the doors. But then it has been poor captaincy so far. Means some of the decisions, means obviously to send in Russell as lower down. Obviously, he did got an opportunity to bat in the 12th over, and he made full use of it, because it was his knock that helped KKR to go past the 150. It wouldn't have been the case had Russell did not fire, did not hit those sixes. But then few of the decisions, obviously, the KKR has failed to have a head start as far as the openers are concerned. So look at other openers. Look at Prithvi Shaw and Shikhar Dhawan in this match. And when then you compare them with Shubman Gill and Nitish Rana, they have been awfully out of means. They have failed to deliver. So something that needs to be looked at, because the both playing conditions and the strategy of Owen Morgan. Because when you have the likes of Pat Cummins, who have been roped in by the Knight Riders, spending so much money, and he is your potential fast bowler. So something that, and I doubt that the body language in the KKR dugout, as time and again you rightly point out that the body language, you see a Brendan McCullum or so I think something is missing in that dugout, in that KKR dugout.
Now, we've talked about Owen Morgan and his captaincy. What about Brendan McCullum and his coaching? Maybe that's where the problem is, more so than Owen Morgan. Maybe Owen Morgan's getting mixed, confused signals on how to go about this particular team's performance, and with a fellow like Brendan McCullum being rather offbeat with his thoughts on occasion, to being very risk-taking in his approach. Is there something missing there? Maybe it's more the Brendan McCullum influence that's actually disturbing KKR rather than Owen Morgan himself. What's your thoughts on that, Galton?
See, I think, yes, I mean, I don't really know whether Brendan has been tested that much as a coach. I mean, last year when he came in as the head coach, his credential was he got the Trinbago Knight Riders, he made them champions in CPL. Now, to be a champion in CPL and IPL, these are two different ball games.
Yeah.
So, if Ewan is getting the right inputs from his dugout team, and it's a fairly experienced team out there. He has got Kyle Mills as his bowling coach, but it's just not adding up. That's the thing. And there should be a courage of conviction. I mean, if you feel that, you'll have to remember there's another issue with KKR. I think the KKR fan base is the most demanding fan base out of the 8 teams, as Devashish will bear me out. So once you take a decision, you've got to stick by your decision rather than 2 matches. It's not working. Okay, so now let us think about trying Sunil Narine again as an opener. There was some talk about changing the opening combination. So right now in the middle of the tournament, they look a lot confused. I don't know what can be the magic potion really, unless it's the team who decides to pick themselves up, some pep talk in the dressing room, and then take it on from there.
Yeah, look,
I had a
must
comment on
quickly-
that.
Sorry.
Yes, Ronak.
Yeah, so on the point of having Brendan McCullum as a coach not working well with Owen Morgan, I somehow see a pattern with international captains and international coaches of a team. So last year also we saw Andrew McDonald being the coach of Rajasthan Royals and Steve Smith being the captain of Rajasthan Royals. I somehow feel that having both a captain and a coach being of the international level doesn't maybe help the franchise, because you might not get the best out of the Indian players as such, or there might not be enough guidance given to the Indian players. I maybe somehow feel a similar pattern coming in, wherein it's Brendan McCullum and Owen Morgan running the show with very less guidance coming in, or very less inputs coming in from the Indian point of view. See the successful franchises, they do have a strong Indian coach or either a strong Indian captain at the helm. Maybe I think it's a pattern wherein we see either one of them being from India and one of them being maybe an international player.
No, but
That's a very
Ronak,
relevant point.
I'll just interrupt here a bit. See, it is there a set pattern about it? Then why didn't the Kumble KL Rahul combination didn't work for Punjab Kings last year? I mean, last year they were Kings 11.
Yeah.
I think what they do is all our successful franchises, whether it's Mumbai, Chennai, or even Hyderabad with the limited resources, I think they have got either there is a little non-intrusive management, or they keep the faith in the players, which finally helps the core of the team. And you see, today Suresh Rana has come back. 6 months back, I was then still based in Dubai. I know what kind of chaos was created, and all kinds of stories were doing the rounds. But today he has come back and he looks the CSK loyalist that he always was.
Yeah.
So that's how you build a core, and which works. For KKR, you see, they have given a long rope to their players, to be very honest. The way they looked after this, this trio of Gill, Mavi, and Nagarkoti, that has to be appreciated. But now, for next year, once the mega auction comes up, they really need to rethink and do something about it.
Look, I think I've spoken a bit about this, and we've made the observation. If you look at the top 4 sides, who are they captained by? And in this case, Indian-based players. The so-called bottom 4, as we struck, 3 of the 4 sides have got overseas captains. I think there's a definite issue there about the relationships between the players and the captain, and even the coach. The only difference we can bring to bear is a man like Ricky Ponting has done a fabulous job with Delhi Capitals, and the likes of Simon Cadiz has done a fabulous job with RCB. I think in those 2 cases, they're very much inspirational coaches and leaders, and they actually give their captain their full support. They let, in the case of Rishabh Pant, Ponting's gone on record saying, I will let Rishabh Pant make the decision-making processes. He's the leader of the team on the field. He makes the decisions. I fully support his decisions. That's a fabulous approach. Even though Punt's stumbled on occasion through the series, it will make the better of him when it comes to the point end of the season. And I think it's even evidenced by today's performance, players led by their own leadership. That is Shaw and Dhawan, and obviously Punt as well. We have a very, very distinct approach, which is working. I keep Galton and Ronak. I do talk. Dabasa said, look at the bench. The bench tells you everything. The glossiness of their social media, the cakes, the pinball machines, the dancing are all well and good, but the reality shows in the game, in the dugout. That's where the true inspiration of the team comes. In a lot of cases, KKR is absolutely dead silence in that particular dugout, which sends a message, in my opinion. With the likes of Punt and Ponting, they're very vocal, they're very encouraging and supporting, and I think that's an essential difference. And there aren't splinter groups in that bunker. I almost think we could do an actual video series on just the bunker, and we'll get a great view of how this performance goes. I take into account the likes of Kohli, his relationship to Dan Christian in the bunker is enormous. They're making so much eye contact, nodding, approving, agreeing, laughing. There's a lot of positives there. And we have late, but not too late. We have, I think that's very much fashionable to be late, is it not? Suresh, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, Norman. How are you?
Very, very well. And I can see you've got your yellow background again. That halo around you still here.
Yeah, the CSK is playing really well. Yeah.
But you're smiling. I didn't think you'd be smiling being a KKR man. I thought there'd be a bit of negativity about you today. But
No, I'm very annoyed with the performance. The way the team has been run, that really annoyed me actually. To be very honest, I always felt KKR has got the team, but the way this team has been managed is absolutely awful. The batting order, the way handling the bowlers is absolutely really, really awful.
So you're pretty close to this. You're pretty close to the team in terms of your role over the time. What's your take? Is it something that's happening from a coaching perspective or a captaincy perspective, or is it both? What's going on?
I think the entire management has not been able to run the team well, because if you see the batting order, it's like the three youngsters like Rana, Shubman Gill, and Rahul Tripathi at 3. And they're keeping Dinesh Karthik so back at the order that they've not been able to use him. And of course, I always felt that no matter whatever the situation is, once it's 10, 12 overs over, you have to send Andre Russell in. Because they are your main player. And once you give them more opportunities, you have got more chances. And same with the ball. While you are defending a total of 155, a small total, so you need early wickets. And I think no one is better than Pat Cummins at this moment to give you the early breakthrough. He's been brought to bowl 6th over of the power play, so which is absolutely beyond my imagination. So I don't know who will give them the wicket, but that's how the team has been run. So I think it's a failure of both the captain and the management.
Well, you made a very good point about Pat Cummins. Now, he took 3 wickets at the end. Maybe they were token wickets, but the reality is he had the speed and the bounce to actually challenge these batters. Yeah. And I think in particular, Darwin and Shaw, had they faced Cummins more so at the beginning, it may well have had that effect. Very true. They could have set the cat amongst the pigeons by taking early wickets.
Yeah,
I've said all along, it's crucial for these teams to have good starts. The top 3 have to fire. And in both the case of the first and second matches, we saw evidence of that. We see clear evidence. If you're going to stamp your authority in this competition, your opening 3 have to score and score big. And look what happened with Shaw today. 82 of 41.
Unbelievable.
Really, he has not, I don't think he shocked me today, but he really impressed me. He could become the pivotal player in this Delhi Capitals side. Rishabh Pant could even take a back step a little bit and allow them to perform. Excellent. I think the potency of Delhi Capitals is evidenced by this match today. They really put their foot on the neck of KKR and didn't let go. And I think this was exceptionally good. Watch out.
Yeah, Norman, to take a cue of what you said right now regarding Rishabh Pant, he could be a pivotal role regarding not only Delhi Capitals. I always felt he would be the player for India. His future player for India. I think the likes of Rishabh Pant, Prithvi Shaw will definitely take the mantle from Virat and Rohit Sharma in coming days, because he's a wonderful, he's a world-class cricketer. And the transformation after the Australia tour that he has made, the calmness, the maturity, the way he's constructed his innings is absolutely remarkable.
I'd just like to interrupt here and ask Shorashish, as one of
Gautam, how are you, Gautam?
I'm good. Keeping fingers crossed, as you see. Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah. All
and
of
toes,
us.
and toes as well.
Yeah.
Fingers and toes.
Yeah.
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 Anything that works. Anything that works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shorashish, the thing is, sometimes you get a feeling that a dugout is kind of overthinking their strategy a bit. I mean, is it the problem with KKR? I mean, see, the way Rishabh, he may have made some mistakes, like one day he couldn't give Ashwin the fourth over, I understand. But the other day I saw him coming in at 4. There was a need, so he came in at 4. He didn't hesitate to do that. These guys, are they overthinking? I mean, this is the plan A, then the plan B. And if something is going wrong somewhere, even a World Cup winning captain doesn't seem to have the answer to that.
Yeah. But see, Gautam, to come back to the point that you have mentioned first, that the combination between Rishabh Pant and Ricky Ponting is wonderful. Whenever you see Ricky Ponting's interview, he will always say he wants to give priority to his captain. He's a young captain, and as we all know, Ricky Ponting is a legend. So he's always there in his back. So whatever mistake he's done, he's there to rectify those. And he's always wanted to guide him, and that is his team. That is Rishabh Pant's team, and he wanted to take the team forward with the help of Ricky Ponting. On the other hand, KKR has got the World Cup winning captain, but as you rightly said, there are too many coaches and so many support staff. I really doubt how many game plan they have we have got before a game, but ultimately, eventually, when it comes to the real matter, no plan is working. So that means the problem is there is no clear thought, there is no clarity to how the team is running. You can see the batting order. When you have such a wonderful batting order, such a power pack middle order, but you are not giving that middle order a chance to express themselves. That's really annoying. You cannot keep Andre Russell so far back in the order. You cannot keep someone like such a versatile player like Dinesh Karthik so deep in the order. You have to give them the opportunity and bat up the order. Because if they bat in those overs, I'm sure they will take the game away. They are game changers. But these Rahul Tripathi, these Nitish Ranas they can contribute. Sorry. They can contribute, but they cannot change the fate of the game by their batting ability. But those two guys can. But you are still hiding them so behind that they don't have the opportunity. That's really baffled me, Gautam.
We talk about Delhi Capitals batting. Clearly, we can have great comments about the likes of Shaw and Pant and Dhawan, but their bowling. I think we underplay their bowling. Their bowlers have bowled very well today. Look at Lalit Yadav and his overs. He bowled sensationally well. There's a great deal of depth. Akshar Patel, we've got Mishra there in the background. They're not even having the services of Ashwin anymore.
Avesh Khan.
Exactly, Avesh Khan.
Yeah, he's been revolution this year.
He's a guy who's making Norrie sit on the sidelines.
Yes.
I mean, of course, the foreigners quota thing is there, but he's been
he's been brilliant. And the best thing is about Avesh Khan, Gautam, he's bowling up front, and he's also bowling at the depth over. He's bowling the most crucial overs for Delhi Capitals, and he's doing it really well. And he's not only choking the runs, he's picked up very important wickets as well. So that's what he's so special this year.
I would like to add here is that emergence of Lalit Yadav has opened new avenues for Delhi Capitals, because you have the luxury of having a Amit Mishra sitting at the reserve bench, because Lalit Yadav, we all know, is a very, very attacking batsman. He can go in at number 3, and if he can deliver those 2 or 3 overs in the middle, then half of your job is done. So he's leading an all new dimension to this Delhi Capitals batting and bowling.
Mama, sorry to interrupt you here, to take a cue of it and to add to Gautam Da's question. This is what a homework is all about. Because Lalit Yadav is someone who has done really well for Delhi in the shorter format of the version, shorter format of the white ball cricket. His batting has been exceptional. We have seen his Vijay Hazare in the Mustaq Ali. His bowling has been very important. That's the reason Delhi is backing him. They promote him in the order. They used to give him the important overs in the middle, and he's doing the job for them. That's what the team management give confidence to the players, and players try to do that as much as they can.
Ronak and I are suffering here because we've got 3 KKRites or Kolkata Knights.
Very animated KKR people.
You guys there's something about Kolkata. You love to talk. You are amazing talkers. Gosh. As a positive, it's a positive, guys. It's not a negative. It's a positive. Don't come at me, okay? But you guys need to talk about the superlatives about Delhi, yes, but the KKR negative is really disturbing. Something has to happen, and something has to happen now. They are off. They are heading south. They're not heading north. They're going to find it very hard to win any games if they continue to do this. They can't rely on their lower order the way they are. The use of their bowlers is disgraceful. I can't understand any of their tactics. Owen Morgan, if it's Brendan McCullum, Owen Morgan, something has to give, and it better give pretty quickly. I'm very damning at KKR. I'm a KKR supporter. I have said the Delhi Capitals will win this tournament, but KKR are my soft spot, mainly because of Debashis, because he's so good looking. He influenced me early on to go for KKR. Okay.
Now,
right.
Norman, what really annoying me is that KKR have got the team. They have got the batsmen, they have got the power hitters, they got the bowlers, everything. But it's very unfortunate the way they have been managed. That really annoyed me.
There's no point in having a team of champions. You need a champion team. Fundamental mistake here is perhaps they've power packed themselves with some great players, but their teamwork is lacking. Something's distinctly wrong there. SRH, KKR, very disturbing. At least with Rajasthan Royals, they've been depleted. You have an excuse. Punjab Kings, there's some issues with some of their players as well. They've got an excuse. KKR and SRH have no excuses. They've got the firepower. They should have been pushing for the top four, and they have disappointed greatly. And it's not too early to say that. Look, if you look at their net run rates of the teams, the bottom four are distinctly negative. The top four are distinctly positive. That almost spells the story out right there. CSK, we know, have performed above their weight, so to speak, at the moment. They've got players that maybe are aging, but they're playing above their weight because they're a champion team rather than a team of champions alone. And that is a distinct difference. They're well led, well coached. Ronak, you must feel very, very, very difficult to get a word in with these KKR or these Kolkata Knights there. Talk, bro.
Yeah, so I agree with them. So I think with KKR and SRH, I think it's a matter of getting the combination right in the first go. And I think these two teams have struggled to get the combination right. Last year we saw with Punjab Kings as well. They were six losses down in the first 7-8 matches. By the time they realized that Gale at number 3 is what they need to go for, and that is how they changed the team, they changed the formation, and then it worked. Here again, SRH took a lot of time in getting Kane Williamson in the team, and now once he's back, I think they're still looking settled. So I think the faster these teams get the combination right, the better it is for them, and that is why teams like Mumbai Indians, Delhi Capitals, they know they're playing 11. They know that they will make changes only when it is actually required, maybe for horses for courses or if there's some injury. But other than that, they are very settled XI. These teams are not, and I think for KKR, they still haven't found the right combination yet as to how they would go about it. For Delhi Capitals, I think I'm very impressed with the fact that they have reached this position without the contribution of their foreign players yet. If you see, Rabada hasn't performed to his capabilities as such. He was exceptional last year, but this season he's not been that great. So has Stoinis. I mean, he had a remarkable season last year, Stoinis, both with the bat and the ball. But this season, again, he's not done anything fabulous. So all their victories, all their successes have come because of the Indian players without significant contribution from the foreign players, which actually marks a sign of a very, very good team wherein they can rely on the young Indian players. They don't need to worry about the form of the foreigners, and they can easily switch one to another. At any point, you can have a Steve Smith go out and get a Nokia in, or get a Billings in. Anytime you have this Chris Wokes who's sitting on the bench, who had actually a couple of good matches at the start. So the fact that they're not dependent on the foreign players and it's the Indian players who are doing the trick is something which is a big plus for them.
I'm going to talk about Chris Wokes for a moment. In my opinion, Chris Wokes should be in the Delhi Capitals side. Why? Marcus Stoinis has actually been out of form, not only in this series, but also in Australia. His form has been very much waning, and I'm a little bit shocked when I see his name read out. I think, and he's proving it as well, he bowled pretty poorly in the last match. He's actually, if there's anything about him, I think there's an element of him dragging him down. Chris Wokes is a winner. Chris Wokes has been amongst English sides that have actually won. And I think the Australian influence on sides is a lot more negative rather than positive at the moment. I would think that's a change that needs to be made, but will Delhi Capitals do that? It'll be interesting. I think they need to consider that. And if they're going to win this competition, they need Chris Wokes in the side rather than out. What's your thoughts, guys? Devashish.
No, Norman, if you see that, obviously, as you have rightly pointed out, that Stoinis is not having the form, is not going to a good form of late. But then, having said that, he's a match winner in his own right. On his day, he can change things in a matter of few hours. Means be it with his batting or even in today's match he took a very crucial wicket. So you cannot rule out a Marcus Stoinis for that matter. But then where you do play Chris Wokes, if you have, because you will invariably you will play the likes of Simran Hetmeyer or a Rabada. And so I too found it very tough to get in Chris Wokes in this side, because with Nokia also sitting in the dugout. So it will be between these three invariably, the Nokia, Rabada, and Chris Wokes. Either of two will play in all the matches.
So are you not saying Chris Wokes is an all-rounder? Are you not seeing him as an all-rounder?
Maybe the Delhi management feel that Stoinis can deliver the odds more than Chris Wokes can.
Yeah, I think I just like to interrupt here. I mean, number one, what may be riding on their minds is they don't have Shreya Shah in the batting lineup this year. So, given what all he had done at number 6 in UAE last year, they can see that banking factor on him a bit more. And the other thing is, for ultimately it's a question of there is so much reliance on taking the pace of the ball. I mean, that's why they would rather keep him, because for Oaks there has to be something that he can derive on the wicket where he can be really a handful. But over a period of time now, with matches being played in Ahmedabad, and then subsequently they're coming. I don't know if they're coming to Calcutta, but I think we'll get to see Oaks play a few matches.
And also one more thing, Gautam, here, that if you see, obviously Marcus Stoinis is a very world-class all-rounder. He has done really well for Australia. Though maybe his form is not great for the last, as Norman mentioned, but he has not get that many opportunity also this year. He has got because the top order is doing so well.
They're
for
finishing
DC.
the matches. Yeah.
That's the reason. The top order is doing so well. Also, Rishabh Pant coming at number 4. Simran Hetmeyer is such an impactful player. Maybe that is one of the reasons that Stoinis doesn't even need. But he is such an experienced player. I am sure whenever he got the opportunity or whenever he is been asked to perform in that crucial moment, he will definitely deliver that. And to come to Ronak's point is very importantly regarding the combination. If you see the teams which is doing well at the moment at this point of time in IPL is CSK and DC, and both their openers are doing a remarkable job. Be it Rituraj Gaikwad, Fab du Plessis, or be it Prithvi Shaw, Shikhar Dhawan. They are doing the bulk of the scoring. And whereas on the other hand, KKR's opening has been a really struggle, and it's been a really talking point at the moment. So in any format of the game, whether you're batting first or you're batting second in a test match, T20 or a test match, your opening stand is very important as far as your team's performance is concerned. But here, KKR is really struggling with the opening slot from game 3 or 2 onwards. So that's been a problem. It's been quite some time now, and they've been not sorted out.
So I have a different opinion here. Maybe I know you're talking about replacing Stoinis with Vokes, but we can also think Steve Smith with Vokes, because to be honest, Steve Smith is not lighting up the tournament, and I'm not sure whether he will be the key player for DC going ahead. If there is a like-for-like replacement, we can easily replace Steve Smith with Rahane, who will in all probability give you a similar strike rate to what a Steve Smith gives. So if there is a chance of strengthening the bowling department by getting Vokes in, that can be an option to be considered by DC. And yes, I think I agree with Norman where Chris Vokes, I think, is one of the most underrated bowlers we've seen. Because even in the English lineup, there's Jofra Archer who always maybe takes the limelight, and in the Test format, it's Anderson and Broad who maybe shine out. I think players like Rabada or Bumrah, I mean, when they bowl well, they are quite visible and you can appreciate them. But I think Chris Stokes is a very consistent bowler, and sometimes his performance go under the radar despite the fact he bowled really well. So I really sometimes feel bad for him because he's not considered as one of the great bowlers despite his performances, not only with the ball but also sometimes with his bat as well.
I was waiting all tournament for one of the top sides to really put a stamp on a game, and Delhi Capitals did that. They won with 21 balls to spare. They lost only 3 wickets. Their batting took charge and never let them into the game. That's the sign of a team that's going to win this competition. I think teams need to win those games emphatically. Admittedly, also DC have also actually won games which are close and lost games that are close. But I think DC, something about them I'm really impressed by. Can I go back to the Australians for a minute? In the tournament across the board, Australian input, Australian players in this tournament has been extremely disappointing. Maybe a bit of Maxwell was good, and a bit of Cummins has been good. But you know the player that I'm most missing? After seeing Chris Lynn play in his first match and really setting the scene with his innings, Quinton de Kock came back in and we haven't seen Chris Lynn again. There's a player that I believe is going to make a mark on this tournament from the Australian camp. The likes of Meredith, Richardson, the bowling attack, I'm talking about Stonis. They are underwhelming at this point. They were underwhelming at home. They were underwhelming against New Zealand in a series not long ago. Australia is down. Mentally and physically, they're down. There's something not right with the Australian contingent, and it's showing this tournament. If you look at the comparisons, the English and South African players, pound for pound, are playing a lot better than the Australians. Significant situation for me to observe. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think then, Norman, we'll have to ask you the obvious question. I mean, we have had so much talk about the pandemic clouding the players' minds. I mean, ultimately, though the IPL franchisees and IPL, they have built a parallel universe for players to feel safe and play. But somewhere, at the back of your mind, if that plays, I feel it may affect your performance. I mean, I look at it that way. Otherwise, it's a bit up and down. I mean, few games, Steve Smith, he hasn't had a memorable last season. At least here, he's trying to get more. He's getting more balls. He's not looking very pretty, but he's hanging on there. But overall, this could be an impact on the Australian guys. I don't know.
And maybe I would like to add to that is that maybe the Australian government's closing all the international flights to Australia from India. Maybe that might be a reason, because Paul Rifle, as you know, he has withdrawn from the league, but he is yet to travel to Australia because of the closure of international flights from India. So that might be a reason, because few of the players did have the talk with the franchises, guys like Warner and Steve Smith. What might be the situation ahead, but then that might be also playing at the back of their mind.
Look, I tell you what, in Australia, the talk is there's a lot of backlash about the Australian players.
Norman, I have some different opinions from Gautam than Devashish here. Regarding the Australians' performance in IPL, you have to face the fact that Indians are absolutely all over the Australians. Since the Australian tour, we have shown even the likes of Rishabh Pant, Shardul Thakur, Mohammad Siraj, you name it. The big guys were out for injury some reason, but the lineup we are better than they're better than them. The full strength Australian side. So you can understand the quality of Indian cricketer. In this IPL, all Indians like Harshal Patel, Avesh Khar are dominating the bowling list. Even the batsman list is dominating by the KL Rahuls and the Shikhar Dhawan. So you won't find any Australians in this lineup as well. So it's the quality. It's the quality of an Indian good domestic cricketer is sometimes even a lot better than a normal Australian cricketer. Because the level the quality of cricket is so high.
You are. You're trying to boast. I can see that. I was there at the Gabby. You don't need to do that. I saw how good you guys are. I don't need you to tell me. I know better than anyone. Don't be nasty.
No, it's a fact. It's a truth. I think
I know it's fact. What do you? Do you want me to say? Do you want me to go on my knees or something?
No. Sorry, Gautam.
See, among the Australian players, I mean, there are some really talismanic guys. I mean, somebody whose underwhelming performance has stood out is David Warner. I mean, that comes up for discussion. Yeah. So yes, I think things are not going right for them so far. So,
but Gautam, did you remember that David Warner dismissal of Prashid Krishna? Can you just imagine in an Indian wicket, an Indian
yes,
guy bounce him out, which is not
yeah,
a good advertisement from Australian legends like David Warner. That means,
yes.
yeah,
I mean, see, we don't know. He was batting really the IPL. Some of his best years were 2016, 17, 19.
absolutely
2016, he single-handedly won the uh,
trophy.
trophy for them.
Yeah.
So I think these things do happen. I mean, it's nobody's getting any younger. I think, yeah.
I think also themselves have had a long season comparatively with the Ashes, with the Indian tour, with the New Zealand tour. So they are also playing continuous cricket for a long time. And the international players are doing well. Players like Faf du Plessis, AB de Villiers are players who are comparatively fresher as such, and they are not moving from bubble to bubble. So you also maybe have to discount the fact for Australian players is that they are also playing a lot of cricket. And secondly, I think the conditions here in India maybe are not suiting them in terms of the slowness of the pitch and the slowness of the wicket. Maybe some of them are struggling because of that. But in the longer run, I don't see it being much of a challenge because in this tournament, it's majorly been the Indian players who have come to the forefront and not international players as such, and not specifically Australian players.
Look, you
That
know what?
that that
I'm going to go. No, I'm going to go against
I,
that. No, Dabas, let me talk. I'm going to get angry now because Australian players have got no excuses at all. They're getting paid a truckload of money. Their motivation is money. Don't be fooled by that. If they are not playing well, it's their problem. They can't use bubble or this. They're fully motivated because of the dollar. And I'm telling you now, ever since the sandpaper gate, these players have had a mental disintegration. We've imploded somewhat in Australia. We're not nearly as good as we are. The motivation is still money. The amount of disrespect that I'm seeing from Dave Warner after every match, the way he comments pre and post match is abhorrent. Sorry, I mean that very clearly. So I'll make that point now. Debashes, I'll let you speak now.
No, I would like to slightly disagree with Ronak with the fact that the question of fatigueness does not arise for Warner because he was injured and had a long rest since that in Indian summer, Australian summer. And also maybe one thing, if you take the side of David Warner, maybe that groin injury, maybe is taking a toll on his because invariably he's not getting any younger. Means obviously his reflexes and the Warner that we all know is no more the same Warner that we are getting to witness in this IPL.
That's a good
Maybe
point.
the groin injury is having an effect because he's subconsciously thinking about the injury because in a few months from now you have the T20 World Cup, so and he would definitely would be like to be in that World Cup squad. So all in all, I think obviously David Warner, we all know the Sunrisers have been the most consistent team in having qualified for the playoffs for last 5 seasons, and David Warner was at the helm along with Tom Moody. So there are two sides to the coin, but we shouldn't be too harsh on Warner.
Yeah, not specific.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
think we should.
it's not.
No, I think we should be hard on him. I've got no time for the way his attitude is. I'm sorry. I can be harsh on him. I see him whenever he's in Australia. He lives about 3 or 4 streets away from me.
When you meet him in Sydney, then you shouldn't be harsh on him because you will invariably bump into him in Sydney.
When he sees me, he runs away. I tell you. I'd give him my thoughts. I mean, I have the luxury of going to coffee almost every day. You've got Moses Enrique, Steve Smith, Dave Warner, Shane Watson, even Michael Clark. They're all there. I think they have too many coffees. That's their problem. They're there every time having a coffee. Stop having coffee. Galton, what are you drinking, Galton? I saw you with a coffee. You had a coffee? Was that a coffee?
No, that was
Vodka?
post dinner. That was no. This is post dinner time. So this is the post dinner black tea.
Yeah, likely story. We can't really see. You could say anything. We'd have to believe you. I'm sure. I was told there was vodka in there. No.
when we meet or you visit my home, I'll make you one.
Okay,
It's a
okay,
it's a
okay.
it's a post dinner, black tea as we call it.
That sounds boring. Isn't it a chai? At least a chai tea?
No, this is see the thing is, I mean, what I'm doing is on other days. Today, I was doing the early game live for my for golfnews.com, but other days it gets so late that I generally keep myself energized with this cuppa.
Okay,
We have to
okay.
continue till
And
midnight.
we must thank we must thank Delhi Capitals and KKR for seeing the match so early. It's 5 overs
Oh, I
to go
know.
normally.
I
Normally,
I'd
I
just like
waiting up.
to Devashish, I'd just like to ask Shorashish one question. I mean, being an ex-player himself, and he had a pretty extensive, a long career himself. This we are talking about this extraordinary muscle memory and fitness of AB, as well as Faf. I mean, Faf still plays some form of international cricket. So, what makes AB so special? I mean, what is it? He is not. He when he's batting, he's just 110%. So, what
Absolutely.
makes AB?
It's really absolutely a very valid question, Gautamda, because he's the once in a generation player, Gautamda. If you can't see anyone, you can name anyone who has not been playing international cricket for such a long time, but once you play a tournament like IPL, and he's been so successful, the fitness, the suppleness of his footwork, the range hitting, the AB used to know 360, he remains the same one, and the flexibility, the eyesight is absolutely as good as anybody else. As good as, I mean, he's absolutely brilliant. But this is really surprised me, because I always felt that once you are not playing international cricket, it's been really difficult for someone who is not playing international cricket to adjust here in the IPL. But he is someone who's absolutely running the clock backward and proving everything wrong, and just putting that tag back again. The age is just a number. If you're as good as AB de Villiers, you can dominate any format of the game.
And Gautam, I would just like to add, Norman, with your permission, having been to AB school in 2018, I've been to South Africa. I went to his school in FE school in Pretoria. I met his childhood coach and also his game teacher in FE school. And the good thing about AB is that he has played a lot of sports, be it rugby, be it tennis, be it hockey. So I think that it's in itself, he has become so fit, irrespective that he has not been playing international cricket, but he brings it so many energy and he's so fit. It speaks volumes of his fitness because he has played the sport from childhood days. He has been into so many sports, and according to his coach Dion Botes, because in fact Faf is also from the same school as AB. So I think AB has this natural ability, this natural fitness in him that has that the player he is, because the fitness that he brings he still is supremely fit. I think that might be one of the reasons that he's sustaining, he's competing with the modern day cricketers.
Yeah, Mama. Just one thing came into my mind. You were talking about those two great South African, Fab du Plessis and AB de Villiers. I just one name came into my mind, because Gautam would be telling better than me, that Chunida's name came into my mind when you could talk about a player who is playing all sorts of sports. Because Norman is, I don't know whether he's aware of Chuni Goswami or not, but he's someone who's probably the best footballer India has ever produced, and he has played first class cricket. He was a very good tennis player, and he was a supremely fit guy. So once you have a good ball sense, that really helps you to to excel in all kind of sports that you play. Because ultimately, in a ball game, the most important thing is your ball sense. Whether you play tennis, table tennis, cricket, football, it's the ball that matters. The ball that runs the show. And once you have a sense of that, you can play the other sports really well. That's what David de Villiers does, and that's why Chuni Goswami's name came into my mind.
Can I give you
It's,
the
it's a,
best example? The best example in the world of sport, and I don't just mean cricket, in the world of sport, is Sir Donald Bradman. If you know about his history, everything he did, as you're describing, table tennis, golf, cricket, he was at the absolute pinnacle of all those sports. He played tennis at a level which no one else reached. He was playing state level tennis with great ease. He was literally a champion of his state. The man showed that technique, and I think that is why a guy like de Villiers is there. He has this all-round nature. We've talked about his physicality, yes, but it's what's up here that counts. He is the clearest mind on a cricket field I've ever seen. He knows exactly what he's doing at any one time. There's nothing muddling it. Whereas a guy like Dave Warner has mental issues where at some stages he doesn't control his mental state. Even though he's got all the talent in the world, we see him at very low points in his career. And I think one of them is now. Going back to Faf du Plessis, he shocks me. I keep not expecting what he does. I keep saying he's not that good. He keeps proving me wrong. I think he's still got the orange cap, hasn't he, at the moment? He's still got the orange cap.
Shikhar has taken
Shikhar's
it.
got
Dhawan,
it, okay.
Shikhar Dhawan now holds the orange cap.
Okay. But I mean, he has been up there only recently.
Yeah,
so I think they've got a game in hand as well. So we may see that reverse again. But it's very impressive. But South Africa, let's not talk about South Africa because we'll be here for the next 4 hours. There's something really smelling in South Africa. They've got no idea what they're doing. They're from their actual leadership of the country down. They're imploding with South African cricket. They may not even be around. It's just disgraceful. Let's not go there. All right, Golson. What?
Yes.
How was your vodka? I mean, your coffee go?
I'm done with it.
Okay.
I'm done with it. Yeah,
No,
that is good.
I would just like to ask the seniors, Gautam Da and Saurav, is that do you think there's a need for a change in this KKR side now? Because almost 7 matches gone. And so is there any need, because with someone like Lockie Ferguson, Team Seifert sitting in the dugout, Kuldeep, you are not playing a Kuldeep Yadav, you are not playing a Karun Nair. So is there a need for a change? Do you see a change now?
Gautam Da, can I?
I'll leave it to
Yeah, please.
Saurash's to answer on. Yeah.
Yeah. See, Mama, you just the player that you have named here, I don't think they can take players like Karun Nair, who has not been a great form, or only one person that we can talk about here is Lockie Ferguson, who has been really good for KKR last year when IPL happened in UAE. He's been really brilliant. So you can definitely get him in place of Sunil Nareen. But they don't have much options as far as batting is concerned, because whatever they have at the moment is probably the best they have, but they can change the batting order. They need to promote
They also
Dinesh
have a Ben Cutting.
Yeah, but you cannot replace Ben Cutting with Andre Russell. So I have in the beginning of the show also. Yeah. In the beginning of the show also I said the same thing. KKR is probably their 11 is right, but they are not canalizing that 11 into the right direction. That's been their problem.
I think it's exactly the same problem again which Rajasthan Royals had, wherein they had an international captain and they couldn't drop him because of poor form. Here, because Owen Morgan is a captain, it's really unfortunate that they cannot drop him here. Because if that was possible, you could still play around with the Tim Seifert in his position, maybe at number 3, get DK above, get Russell above. But because Owen Morgan is here to stay and there's no way he can be removed, I think that's hurting them. And exactly what happened to Rajasthan, where Steve Smith was underperforming last time. As Saurav mentioned, I think it's the shuffling of the batting order is important, and I think it's depending on the situation. You might not have the same order, but if maybe last 8 overs are remaining and they need 100 runs, you can get Andre Russell to number 3 or number 4. It's not necessary that he needs to come at number 6 or number 7 only when the last 2-3 overs are remaining. And so with DK, because DK surprisingly is doing really well this season. He's timing the ball well, and whatever few knocks he's played, his cameos have been very good, much better than what Morgan would give or maybe a Tripathi would give.
He's someone, Raunak, he's more than playing this cameo to that match-winning knocks, because he's capable of doing that. But he's not with the opportunity. Yeah.
So today, if you see, for the Mumbai Indians match, they had Nathan Coulter-Nine coming at number 7, and for KKR, that Dinesh Karthik at number 7. So you can see the talent that KKR has, but they're just wasting it at an order. So I think another is a fast bowling, but I don't think so they have much options except having a Lockie Ferguson, and I think they should play with a 2-pacer attack, because Lockie Ferguson, Pat Cummins, if they come into rhythm, if they come into form, I think half their matches will be won there itself when they
True. Very, very.
They don't require anything else. Then those players like Prasidh Krishna, Shivam Mavi can be utilized where maybe the pressure is on the opposition. They can get in some quick overs for less runs. But I think the bowling also is a worry. As much as the batting is, the bowling again, as we saw in today's
No, I
match.
think at this point of time, they can have two foreign fast bowlers, Cummins and Ferguson, and Andre Russell. And also, you cannot drop Ian Morgan because he's your captain. So, when Morgan, Russell, and the two fast bowlers, and rest 7 Indians, you have to, like the Yash Kartiks, the Varun Chakravartis, the Gill, the Nitish Rana, the Tripathis are all there. But you have to just change the batting order.
Can I go back to the Mumbai Indians bowling for a moment? Nathan Coulson bowled okay, but they weren't. I mean, Chahar and Bumrah bowled very well, but they didn't exactly, stop Rajasthan Royals completely. They still scored 171. Yes.
Trent Bolt. He's been absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, he has. But I don't know whether we can really say that Mumbai Indians have been dominant with their bowling as much as they were previously. There's a bit of, in one of the games they were a bit off when they lost that match. I think they're not exactly on song. There's an element of vulnerability about Mumbai Indians at the moment. I think.
Mumbai is the really, concerning fact. What I mean is, like, other than Rahul Chahar, they don't have a quality spinner. Though they do have Krunal Pandya, but I'm not convinced with his bowling. And on a good wicket, he's getaway. He can bowl those 4 overs for say about 32 runs. I don't see that, because he's someone who will go for many runs because he don't have that bowling. He's not someone like Murali Kartik used to bowl, or a Daniel Vettori you can name, or who I name. He's not that in that bracket of let-down spinners. He's someone who gives a bits and pieces cricketer who can chip in with the bat and give you those 2 overs. But he's not someone of like a Sunil Narine or a R Ashwin, or you can name, or a Kuldeep Yadav at his prime. So who can rip the batting out apart. He's not that kind of a bowler. So they are really missing a good quality spinner, Mumbai Indians.
Yep. I do think that Delhi Capitals, RCB and CSK, I know it's early, have got some more of an edge about their play over Mumbai Indians.
I missed a very, very big name here, Norman. I just Ravindra Jadeja. I have mentioned all the let-down spinners. I just forgot to mention him. He's probably the best.
Did he pay you to say something?
Not really, but he's a world-class cricketer. I'm really a fan of him.
Show me your text message.
I don't have his number in my phone.
My foot. Yes, Ronak.
Yeah, I actually have a contrasting opinion on the Mumbai Indians bowling. I think it's a big surprise that a 21-year-old spinner has led the attack for Mumbai Indians this season. I think Chahar has been fantastic.
Brilliant.
The big disappointment has been Bumrah and Bolt, specifically because if you see the number of wickets they have this season, I think Bumrah has 5 or 6 and Bolt has 7. Whereas last season they were among the top 3 wicket takers with 25 plus wickets. This season the wickets aren't coming for the strike bowlers, and it is Rahul Chahar who's doing the business. So that is a big worry, because I think the spin attack was similar to last season. They just had Rahul Chahar and Krunal Pandya bowling, and it was the fast bowlers who were doing the damage last season as well. That unfortunately hasn't happened, and the third pacer again is a worry. So they have Bolt and Bumrah, but who is the third pacer right now? There's too much chopping changing happening with respect to either Jayant Yadav playing or Kolkata Knight playing. So I think it's a slight worry, because I think players are playing Bumrah pretty cautiously and not giving up their wickets to him. So maybe that's why he's become less effective. And I think they've lost their matches because of their batting in the first half of the season, because they've not crossed 160 before this match at all. And I think it's the middle order batting which was more of a concern to Mumbai Indians, because if you again see last season, they would be at stages where they were around at 120 after 15 overs, and then Pandya brothers and Pollard would just skyrocket them to 180, 190 score. This season, I think Hardik Pandya, Krunal Pandya haven't come to the fore in the batting, and I think that has been another concern with them. Quinton de Kock, again, he was the star performer in the previous season as well, but this season he also hasn't come up to his capabilities as of now, except today's match. So they have a few chunks in their armor, which I think the opposition teams have caught about, and they are targeting them. But I think it's primarily the bowling of Bumrah and Bolt, wherein they're not getting too many wickets as they should have.
Okay, we mustn't forget we've got a comment about poor management and why Narayan every time it's in the side. We've talked about it already quite a bit. Let's go to something which is more important. Let's talk about my 11 circle.
Hi guys, are you all excited for the Indian T20 League 2021? Well, I am, and I have come across the great fantasy sports app called My 11 Circle, where you can use your cricket knowledge and skills to win in crores. The really unique feature about it is that what you can actually literally play with champions like Dada, Rahane, VVS Laxman on this app. Also, don't please hold your breath, because not only My 11 Circle have all these legendary cricketers on their app, they recently got the kings of energy and awesomeness on board. Ranveer Singh. Yeah, you heard it, that right. Ranveer Singh is on My 11 Circle. Download the app now.
One thing that My 11 Circle hasn't got, it's got so many bonuses, 5 times the cash, 2 crores, 1 crore here, 1 crore there. What it hasn't got is my crystal ball. Now, this is very significant. Actually, I should market this as mycrystalball.com or something. The reality is I have in my crystal ball the winner of the overall tournament. Shall I tell you or shall I not tell you? My thoughts still are the Delhi Capitals is coming to the surface above the chocolate. In fact, Delhi Capitals is still my favorite. Mark my words, guys. Mark my words. All right. We've lost Suresh. Where is he? I'm going to be saying goodbye. You're in darkness. What are you doing?
I think there's some problem with the camera.
Are you brushing your teeth or something, or what are you doing?
No, not really.
Or are you okay?
So guys, I'm just going out, and I will join again.
Okay. I was about to say goodbye to everybody, so we're getting back to say goodbye. The reality is, guys, we have seen today 2 teams that are certainly stamping their authority. But I believe Delhi Capitals, the amount of balls left in their innings is more of an indication of how much of a thumping it was done today. And I can hear myself twice there, guys. Or 3 times. Okay. We may not be able to wait. So we might say goodbye now. In fact, I enjoyed the companies like Galton. You were fantastic. Your vodka/coffee was a very good insert. Debashis, you were fantastic. Ronak as well. Suresh, he was magnificent. If we could see him, he was also good. So thanks, everyone. This is Norman Kostek on Extra Time. We'll see you soon again for more double headers, more great matches, and great coverage on this great platform, Extra Time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Norman.